Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry. Oh, I can't move it. I'm moving it up here. Doc asked if it was okay if he moved that over there. I said, don't do that because I'll get distracted and I won't know what I'm doing. That's what I did the last time. Keep my eye on Ralph. I think so. Looks like it. And it'll be more. Shorter more. Stop it. Stop it, Holly. You should have put that in your song. Did you do
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Eric Pourchot.
And I'm Marty Breddick.
We thought we'd give you a little extended in-gathering today with this little number we cooked up.
Our apologies to Garrison Keeler.
And to Pete Seeger.
And to everyone listening.
Marty, how long have you been a member of this church?
Oh, about 30 years. How about you, Eric?
It's been so long I don't remember. I guess I'm getting old.
We're not getting older, we're getting riper.
Yeah, I don't know about that. You know, Marty, I'm so old, my birth certificate expired.
Well, Eric, I'm so old, when I ran the 100-yard dash, they timed me with a sundial. Old jokes, don't you just love them? Old jokes, can't get enough of them. Ooh, old jokes for me.
Now my memory has faded some, but things aren't all that bad. There are some things now that I can do that make me feel quite glad. At Christmas I can buy my gifts like tools, books, and ties, but wrap them up all by myself and still be so surprised.
Old jokes, don't you just love them? Old jokes, can't get enough of them. Ooh, old jokes for me. Well, it happened on an old lady one night, under a street lamp in a heck of a plight. Can you help me find my keys, she pleaded, and sympathetic, I conceded. On hands and knees, I searched the ground, but no keys were ever felt or found. So I asked her, ma'am, did I hear you mutter that you dropped your keys here by this gutter? Sheepishly, she looked side to side and then quietly said to me aside, no, I dropped them by my car, my dear, but the light's much better over here. Old jokes, don't you just love them? Old jokes, can't get enough of them. Ooh, old jokes for me.
You know, Marty, I'm so old that when I was a kid, rainbows were black and white.
Well, I'm so old, when I was a kid, the Dead Sea was only sick.
Did you know that my grandmother lived to be 99 years old?
That's amazing. What did you like best about living so long?
Lack of peer pressure.
You got another one, Eric?
Yeah, I'm afraid I do. This one's from Pete Seeger. I get up each morning and dust off my wits. I open the paper and I read the obits. If I'm not there, I know I'm not dead. So I eat a good breakfast and go back to bed.
Old jokes, don't you just love them? Old jokes, can't get enough of them. Ooh, old jokes for me. You know, I just realized something.
What's that?
We're so old, we're liable to forget all the people we've offended with this song.
We can only hope. Time to wind it up.
Old jokes, don't you just love them? Old jokes, can't get enough of them. Ooh, old jokes for me. Old jokes, don't you just love them? Old jokes, can't get enough of them. Ooh, old jokes for me.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to Mount Vernon Unitarian Church. My name is Becky Brandt, and I'm a member of this congregation. If you are new to our church or just visiting today, please know that you are welcome here. Whatever faiths you have known, if any, you are welcome here. Whomever you love, you are welcome here. Whichever way you vote, you are welcome here. Whatever brought you through these doors today, or to our YouTube channel, to worship with us in community, we are so glad you're here. Feel free to ask anyone in the congregation about this church and about our faith. You'll also find printed information about the Unitarian Universalist denomination in the Commons. Children are welcome in the service, but if you need nursery care, the nursery is just down the hall. You can find out information on our website about our many activities and matters of interest to our community. Newcomers and guests are always welcome to participate in any of our church activities. I have one announcement this morning. If you all just turn around and take a look behind you. Today, October 27th, is the 40th anniversary of the dedication of our stained glass window. Artist Jane Kofler, a founding member of MVUC, designed and made the stained glass dedicated 40 years ago. She was a watercolorist extraordinaire. She used to give lectures to the Every Thursday group about artists such as Frederick Law Olmsted, and talked for an hour without any notes. She was an MVUC quilter with her famous line after staring at the fabric blocks on the floor, "It needs more red." John Stevens, first sexton of MVUC, discovered that when the sun is shining, you can look out the back door of the meeting house and see the window in full color facing you, appearing to hang in the trees. What a miracle. There'll be a cake during coffee hour commemorating Jane and her stained glass window. After the service, of course, we invite everyone to join us in the Commons for refreshments and continued conversations. Now, let us turn our hearts and minds to worship.
Despite our silly ingathering music, today's program is not so much about growing old, but more about growing up. M. Scott Peck, author of The Road Less Traveled and other books, wrote, "All my life, I used to wonder what I would become when I grew up. Then about 7 years ago, I realized that I was never going to grow up, that growing up is an ever ongoing process." So what does it mean to grow up, to be mature? I mean, one can live a long, long life without growing much. Do any of us reach the point where we can say we are emotionally and spiritually mature? My guess is that level of maturity is only reached by a few people, perhaps saints and bodhisattvas. In my experience, maturity is something I must continually strive for. This service tries to show how we could, individually or as a church community, try to evaluate our journeys to adulthood, how we grow older, more or less mature, more or less in need of answers to life's questions. Now, if some of what I said sounds familiar, you may be recalling a service on this topic I led 12 years ago with many of the same participants and some of the songs. But I feel the topic bears repeating, and it seems especially relevant to our congregation at this time. Georgia has some perspective on this.
Once upon a time, a church hired a new minister. Her first Sunday sermon, great. Everybody was, sorry. Is this better? First Sunday sermon, everybody was enthralled with her, congratulated her, excellent sermon. The second Sunday comes, and the minister preaches the exact same sermon. Congregation said, okay, good sermon, yeah, well, we'll get along, let's see where she's going with this. Third Sunday comes, guess what happened? She preached the exact same sermon. Really intrigued, some of them, some congregants approached her at coffee hour and asked, "Minister, this is a good sermon, no, don't get us wrong, but how many more times are you going to preach it?" "Until you get it."
I was thinking recently how different things were back in 2012. Kate Walker was our minister. I was chair of the board of trustees. We had a small, wobbly platform for worship, and our commons was small and noisy, and you entered the building, literally, through the coat closet. Well, many other things have changed since then, and speaking of which, I need a guitar. Well, we've had a lot of changes to this property, to us as a congregation, and to all of us as individuals. And according to Scott Peck, part of the maturing process is learning to adapt to these things. But in the immortal words of the late, great Jimmy Buffett, a man who seemed to find a childlike joy throughout his life, I'm growing older, but not up. Hit it. Well, I rounded first, never thought of the worst as I studied the shortstop's position. Crack with my leg like the shell of an egg. Someone call a decent physician. I'm no Pete Rose, I can't pretend, though my mind is quite flexible, these brittle bones don't bend. I'm growing older, but not enough. My metabolic rate is pleasantly stuck. Let those winds of time blow over my head. I'd rather die while I'm living than live while I'm dying. Sometimes I see me as an old manatee heading south as the waters grow colder. He tries to steer clear of that humdrum so near it cuts prop scars deep in his shoulders. That's how it flows, right to the end. So his body's quite flexible, that barnacle brain won't bend. I'm growing older, but not up. My metabolic rate is pleasantly stuck. Let those winds of time blow over my head. I'd rather die while I'm living than live while I'm dead. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not a sad song, just events that I happen to witness. And time takes its toll as we head for the pole, and no one dies from physical fitness. So what the hell, I'll take it right to the end. As the days grow more complicated, the nightlife still wins. I'm growing older, but not up. My metabolic rate is pleasantly stuck. Let those winds of change blow over my head. I'd rather die while I'm living than live while I'm dead. Let those winds of time blow over my head. I'd rather die while I'm living than live while I'm dead. Woo!
We light this chalice as a symbol of our search for truth, meaning, and community. We recall the words of Leslie Pole Cosbo. Flame of fire, spark of the universe that warmed our ancestral hearth, agent of life and death, symbol of truth and freedom, we strive to understand ourselves and our earthly home.
We're born with such potential. And it's only as we interact with others, compare ourselves with others, and begin to depend on others to define our worth, that we start to lose our sense of value. Sometimes I still feel like I did in 7th grade. Am I cool? Did I wear the right kind of sneakers? Is my fly open? About a fourth of all adolescents report involvement in bullying at school, as a bully, as a victim, or both. Teasing and bullying are often related to the desire to obtain acceptance and to show superiority over other students. Especially in the middle school years, the opinions of peers can be overwhelmingly important. A key factor to maturity is developing a strong sense of self and self-worth, finding value and validation internally instead of relying on the opinions of others. That, however, is hard to do, and we need to remind ourselves every so often that, in the spirit of the cosmetics commercial, we are worth it. Please rise in body and spirit as you're willing and able. Join us in singing hymn 1053 in the Teal hymnal, How Could Anyone, as we affirm the value of each child. We're going to sing it through twice.
Please remain standing, and let's join our voices in reciting the covenant of Mount Vernon Unitarian Church. You can find it in your order of service or within your hearts.
Love is the teaching of this church. The quest of truth is its daily task, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve life and community, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony. This is our covenant with each and with all.
We come now to the morning offering. Mount Vernon Unitarian Church continues to share the plate with committed organizations that you, our members, have chosen. During the month of October, our offering is being shared with the Arcadia Center for Sustainable Food and Agriculture. Arcadia's mission is to improve the health of our community, support the viability of local farmers, and preserve the environment for future generations. The mission and activities of Arcadia are consistent with our shared values of justice, equity, and the interdependent web of all existence, of which we are all a part. At this time, I ask the ushers to come forward to collect the offering to support the work of this church community. If this is your first time visiting with us, please be our guest and let the basket pass you by.
Blues were knocking at my door. Tell me, how long do I have to wait? Oh, can I have it now, or must I hesitate? I'll eat when I'm hungry, I'll drink when I'm dry. If the waiting don't kill me, I'll live till I die. Tell me, how long do I have to wait? Ain't no senator's son, but I can do some talking till the politicians come. Tell me, how long do I have to wait? Oh, can I have it now, or must I hesitate? stockings, the hesitation shoes. I believe to my soul I got the hesitation blues. Tell me how long do I have to wait? Oh, can I have it now? Or must I hesitate? Or must I hesitate? Or must I hesitate?
I'd like to invite all those who are young in age or in spirit to come forward for a wisdom story for all ages. If you'd like to, you can just come sit around up here in front. If you'd like to stay where you are, that's okay too.
Come on up, kids.
Yeah, come on up.
Come on up.
Good job, gals. Okay, everybody, wonderful. Some of you may know today's story about the grasshopper and the ants. Sit down. It's going to be a while. Good. Some of you may know today's story about the grasshopper and the ants. It comes from a group of old tales called Aesop's Fables. What the animals do in these stories can be applied to what humans do in real life. And the stories all end with a moral, a statement to live by, like, don't kill the goose that lays the golden eggs, or slow and steady wins the race. In a field one day in autumn, a grasshopper was hopping about, chirping and singing to his heart's content.
I'm bringing home a baby bumblebee. Won't my mama be so proud of me?
A line of ants went by, carrying corn and wheat and other seeds from the fields back to their nest. Please sing along with them.
The ants go marching one by one, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching one by one, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching one by one. The little one stopped to suck his thumb, and they all go marching down in the ground to get out of the rain. Boom, 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 boom.
The grasshopper said to the little ant,
Why not come and chat with me instead of working and sweating with all that grain?
The little ant said,
I'm helping gather grain to last through the winter. You should do the same. No time to chat.
and off she marched. The grasshopper yelled after her.
Oh, yeah, well, you go ahead and work, sweaty pants. I'm just going to have fun without you.
The next month, the grasshopper was still singing and chirping.
Little bunny foo-foo walking through the forest, scooping up the field mice and popping them on the head.
When the line of ants passed by again,
The ants go marching two by two, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching two by two, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching two by two.
The little one stopped to tie his shoe, and
They all go marching down in the ground to get out of the rain. Boom, boom, boom.
Hey, little ant, why don't you sing a song with me?
winter is coming. We all need to store food now while we can.
What a broken record you are. Why bother about winter? We've got plenty of food to eat.
but the ant went on her way and continued carrying the heavy seeds back to the nest. About a month later, the grasshopper was still chirping and singing.
She slid down the mountain on her ole-hee-hoo, her ole-hee-hoo, her ole-hee-hoo.
As he saw the ants go marching by again.
The ants go marching 3 by 3, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching 3 by 3, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching 3 by 3. The little ones fell and skinned his knee, and they all go marching down to the ground to get out of the rain. Boom, 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 boom.
Hey, Ant, I got a new dance to teach you.
Winter is almost here. This is our last chance to store up enough seeds. You should really be thinking ahead and store some food too.
You are such a worrywart.
The next day, sure enough, the first snow fell. The grasshopper couldn't dig through it to get any leaves to eat. He got cold. He got hungry. Finally, he went to the ant's nest and called out,
Hey, little ant, I'm cold and hungry. Please give me some food.
Now, at this point, we have some major differences on how to end this story. Aesop believed in strong messages. In his version, the little ant said, I warned you this day was coming, but you just kept singing and chirping and making fun of me for not working, and now you get what you deserve. So, in his story, the grasshopper died in the snow. And that's the moral of Aesop's story. It's wise to prepare for tomorrow today.
Now, wait a minute. When I was little, my mother told me this story, and she felt Aesop's ending was way too sad and too scary. So she told me that the grasshopper promised to do better next year. And the ants felt so sorry for him that they invited him to spend the winter with them. I'm not sure what the moral to that story might be. Maybe you can get away with anything if you're pathetic enough?
Now, here's how I would end the story. The ants take pity on the poor grasshopper and hire him on a per-performance contract to sing for them during the winter. Of course, he has no health benefits or a pension plan, but he doesn't think ahead about those things anyway. The moral of that story would be, you reap what you sow, or perhaps the cake is sweeter if you eat the frosting last. So now, guys, as you head back to your seats, think about how you would end the story and what decisions the grasshopper and the ants made. And at this time, if you'd like to come forward and light a candle of joy or concern, you're welcome to do so. And now please help sing the children out to their RE classes.
We hold you in our love as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. To nurture the spark of your precious life. We hold you in our love as you go.
I invite you now to enter into a time of silence, a time of meditation. Put down anything you're holding. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel your breath pulsing slowly in and out, in and out. Listen to the sounds around you in this building and in our community. I invite you to think about where you are on your journey. Where are you now? Where would you like to be? Please remain seated as we sing hymn number 88 in the gray hymnal, Calm Soul of All Things. We'll play it through once before we start singing.
Come, soul of all things, make it mine to feel amid the city's jar, that there abides a peace of thine I did not make and cannot mar. Will to neither strive nor cry, the power feel with others give. Come me born, or let me die, before I have begun to live.
At a few Sundays each year, this congregation has lay members provide the service rather than our usual ministers. And today's program is a group effort and uses music rather than a formal sermon. It is intended to be a worship service, but please feel free to sing along with us, tap your foot, or just hum along as you're comfortable. Through songs, readings, and comments, we aim to provide a collage of perspectives on what maturity means and how to work toward it. Sometimes the words came first to us and the songs provided an illustration or counterpoint. And sometimes the songs came first and the words then attempt to provide some context. There are threads, though, that hold everything together. And I draw on the writings of M. Scott Peck. I see 5 elements in spiritual development. 1, developing a healthy and realistic self-image. 2, finding our own way, which means separating from parents and peers. 3, learning the rewards of delayed gratification, as our wisdom story illustrated. 4, believing in something bigger than ourselves, whether that be the divine or just the mysteries of time and existence. And 5, not wasting our precious time in procrastination, but identifying problems and taking realistic steps to solve them. Now, I know all of this sounds much simpler to say than to do, and no one said it would be easy. As you probably noticed from my list, emotional maturity is an integral part, and perhaps the larger part, of spiritual maturity. As we find our way through life, there are inevitable milestones that we pass. The need to become independent of our parents, learning to interact with others, finding love, or not, starting a family, or not, dealing with an aging body and an aging mind. Each step of the way requires us to adapt, change, and let go, as this song by Five for Fighting describes.
I'm 15 for a moment, caught in between 10 and 20, and I'm just dreaming, counting the ways to where you are. I'm 22 for a moment, and she feels better than ever, and we're on fire, making our way back from Mars. 15, there's still time for you, time to buy and time to lose. 15, there's never a wish better than this, when you only got 100 years to live. I'm 33 for a moment, I'm still the man, but you see I'm a they, a kid on the way, a family on my mind. I'm 45 for a moment, the sea is high and I'm heading into a crisis, chasing the years of my life. 15, there's still time for you, time to buy and time to lose yourself within a morning star. 15, I'm alright with you. 15, there's never a wish better than this, when you only got 100 years to live. Half time goes by, suddenly you're wise, another blink of an eye, 67 is gone, the sun is getting high, we're moving on. I'm 99 for a moment, I'm dying for just another moment, and I'm just dreaming, counting the ways to where you are. 15, there's still time for you. 22, I feel her too. 33, you're on your way. Every day's a new day. Oh, 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 oh. 15, there's still time for you, time to buy and time to choose. Hey, 15, there's never a wish better than this, when you only got 100 years to live.
In her book, Wild, Cheryl Strayed describes her trek up the Pacific Crest Trail from the Mojave Desert to Washington State. At age 26, recently divorced and still in grief after the sudden death of her mother at the age of 45, she undertook the hike to help find her center. Here's an excerpt from her first week on the trail. On the afternoon of the 5th day, as I made my way along a narrow and steep stretch of trail, I looked up to see an enormous brown horned animal charging at me. "Moose!" I hollered, though I knew that it wasn't a moose. In the panic of the moment, my mind couldn't wrap around what I was seeing, and a moose was the closest thing to it. "Moose!" I hollered more desperately as it neared. I scrambled into the manzanitas and scrub oaks that bordered the trail, pulling myself into their sharp branches as best I could, stymied by the weight of my pack. As I did this, the species of the beast came to me, and I understood that I was about to be mauled by a Texas longhorn bull. "Moose!" I shouted louder as I grabbed for the yellow cord tied to the frame of my pack that held the world's loudest whistle. I found it, brought it to my lips, closed my eyes, and blew with all my might until I had to stop to get a breath of air. When I opened my eyes, the bull was gone. So was all the skin on the top of my right index finger, scraped off by the manzanita's jagged branches in my frenzy. The thing about hiking the Pacific Crest Trail, the thing that was so profound to me that summer, and yet also, like most things, so very simple, was how few choices I had, and how often I had to do the thing I least wanted to do, how there was no escape or denial, no numbing it down with a martini, or covering it up with a roll in the hay. As I clung to the chaparral that day, attempting to patch up my bleeding finger, terrified by every sound that the bull was coming back, I considered my options. I could go back in the direction I had come from, or I could go forward in the direction I intended to go. The bull, I acknowledged grimly, could be in either direction, since I hadn't seen where he'd run once I closed my eyes. I could only choose between the bull that would take me back and the bull that would take me forward. And so I walked on.
One of the things we discover as we experience more and more of life is that there are things larger than ourselves. And some of those things cannot be touched or held, such as love, faith, and hope. But does that make them any less real? As you hear this song by Mary Chapin Carpenter, we invite you to sing along with the refrain. It goes, "Why shouldn't we?"
We believe in things that we cannot see. Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we? Hands that heal can set a chained man free. Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we? And we believe in peace in every heart. Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we? Burning brightly, brightly in the dark. Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we? So come on, darling, feel your spirits rise. Come on, children, open up your eyes. God is all around, Buddha's at the gate. All I hear is your prayers, it's not too late. We believe in things that will give us hope. Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we? Let your voice be heard, celebrate your vote. Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we? So come on, darling, feel your spirits rise. Come on, children, open up your eyes. God is all around, food is at the gate. All I hear is your prayers, it's not too late. We believe in things we're told we cannot change. Why shouldn't we? So come on, darling. Come on, children. God is all around. Buddha's at the gate. All I hear is your prayers. It's not too late. Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we?
Excerpts from The Road Less Traveled by M. Scott Peck. Life is difficult. This is a great truth, one of the greatest truths. It's a great truth because once we truly see this truth, we transcend it. Once we truly know that life is difficult, once we truly understand and accept it, then life is no longer difficult. Because once it's accepted, the fact that life is difficult no longer matters. Now, most do not fully see this truth that life is difficult. Instead, they moan more or less incessantly, noisily or subtly, about the enormity of their problems, their burdens, and their difficulties, as if life were generally easy, as if life should be easy. Life is a series of problems. Do we want to moan about them or solve them? Do we want to teach our children to solve them? What makes life difficult is the process of confronting and solving problems is a painful one. Problems, depending on their nature, evoke in us frustration, or grief, or sadness, or loneliness, or guilt, or regret, or anger, or fear, or anxiety, or anguish, or despair. These are uncomfortable feelings, often very uncomfortable, often as painful as any kind of physical pain, sometimes equaling the very worst kind of physical pain. Indeed, it is because of the pain that events or conflicts engender in us all that we call them problems. And since life poses an endless series of problems, life is always difficult and full of pain, as well as joy. Yet in this whole process of meeting and solving problems that life has its meaning. Problems are the cutting edge that distinguishes between success and failure. Problems call forth our courage and our wisdom. Indeed, they create our courage and our wisdom. It is only because of problems that we grow mentally and spiritually. It is through the pain of confronting and resolving problems that we learn. It is for this reason that wise people learn not to dread, but actually to welcome problems, and actually to welcome the pain of problems. Most of us are not so wise. Fearing the pain involved, almost all of us to a greater or lesser degree attempt to avoid problems. We procrastinate, hoping that they will go away. We ignore them, forget them, pretend they do not exist. We even take drugs to assist us in ignoring them so that by deadening ourselves to the pain, we can forget the problems that cause the pain. We attempt to skirt around problems rather than meet them head on. We attempt to get out of them rather than suffer through them. Some of us will go to quite extraordinary lengths to avoid our problems and the suffering they cause, proceeding far afield from all that is clearly good and sensible in order to try to find an easy way out, building the most elaborate fantasies in which to live, sometimes to the total exclusion of reality. The words of M. Scott Peck.
As I examine my whole life so I can understand me, I find a woman trying to deal with all that life would hand me. I look at all I've ever done, the good things and the bad. When I see it all together, what a life I've had. 27 lovers, a fear of horses, 2 good marriages, 2 good divorces, 3 precious children, 14 pets. My life has been interesting, but it's not over yet. 2 darling grandkids and lots of girlfriends, though not all of them are like my best in the world friends. 17 vehicles, some old and some new. My life has been interesting, and I know I'm not through. I look at all I've ever done, the good things and the bad. When I see it all together, oh, what a life I've had. Too many jobs with countless employers, waitress, manager, and flunky to lawyers. Several addictions I'd rather not name. My life has been interesting. That's something I can claim. So what have I got to show for all I've ever done? My life, it's been interesting, and it's been fun. Yay!
Is this good? Can you hear me? All right. I became aware of my immaturity some years ago when I started watching the Dr. Phil show. Some of you might know it. He was interviewing a young woman who appeared to have commitment issues. After listening to her excuses every which way, Dr. Phil asked her, "Do you want to be right, or do you want to be in a relationship?" To which she answered that she knew she was right, and I'm thinking in my head, yeah, that's exactly what I would have said. The good doctor followed up with, "And how's that working for you?" During one of Reverend Ian's sermon, he reflected on a row he had with his partner, Carrie, about their inability to find common ground in seeking a permanent home in this area. You may remember that sermon. Ready to leave the house angry, he asked himself, tying his shoelaces, do I want to be angry? Do I want to be right, or do I want to be happy? He decided quickly that he wanted to be happy, so he went back to Carrie and they made up. Several months ago, Reverend Kimberly DeBus resurfaced the theme of, do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? And it occurred to me that all those years ago, when I first heard Dr. Phil ask this question, I made a quiet decision that I too wanted to be happy, married to Eric, and we could find mutually acceptable solutions to whatever life was going to hit us with. I'm happy to report it worked out. 30 years later, we're still here. Would I change anything in our lives together? Of course, always. Would that lead to a fight? Not likely. If we make the fight about it's my way or the highway, we make it about being right what the other one is wrong. If we make the argument about meeting each other halfway, things run more smoothly. As we take stock of our lives, we need to be honest and ask ourselves periodically, what is it that we want? Some of us probably want to be both right and happy, yeah? Yeah. But for those of us who only want to be right all the time, self-awareness would be a healthy starting point towards increased emotional maturity. Let's try it. Wisdom and happiness might follow.
Finding out who you are and what your values are tasks most of us need to continuously work on. I was in my mid-30s when my mother died, and I thought I was all grown up. In my grieving process, I discovered that many of my choices in life had been dictated by others, not by my true needs or true desires. I had lost my way. Like the child in our opening hymn, you can be anything you want to be, not just in your youth, but throughout your life. Learning that, and especially acting on that is a lifelong task. It's certainly a major reason I come to this church. This next song is by Cat Stevens, a man who reinvented his own life in so many ways.
As Scott Peck points out, delayed gratification is a key element to maturity. Do we give up a few days of singing and chirping in order to bring in some food for the winter? Being able to do an unpleasant task that will ultimately be of great benefit, or to reward ourselves later with a pleasant task, takes a wider view of time. In The Lord of the Rings, Frodo has just learned what possession of his magic ring really means. He tells the wizard Gandalf, "I wish the ring had never come to me. I wish none of this had happened." Gandalf replies, "So do all who live to see such times." But that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us. Yes, it would be nice if our present actions had no consequences, if we only had to worry about the moment. But that, of course, is one of the things that changes as we move from childhood to adulthood. Here's a song from Carly Simon on the topic.
I remember a time romping through the woods, sun against our skin instead of clothes. When we felt hungry, we would eat. When we felt glad, we'd dance. And whenever we felt drowsy, we would doze. It was so easy then, never taking any stands. It was so easy then, holding hands. I remember a time when our fears could be named, and courage meant not refusing dares. I remember when we took such care to step never on the cracks, only in the squares, or else we'd be abducted by the bears. It was so easy then, never making any plans. It was so easy then, holding hands. And now we are grown with debts and regrets, broken hearts and sentimental schemes. Now every tender failure seems to overthrow old dreams. Love can drive a normal woman to extremes. It was so easy then, never making any plans. It was so easy then, holding hands. It was so easy once, holding hands without a plan. It was so easy once, holding hands, just holding hands.
Unfortunately, procrastination and other avoidance mechanisms don't actually accomplish anything. They just waste the precious time we have. This song by Crosby, Stills, and Nash sums this up nicely.
Look around me, I can see my life before me, running rings around the way it used to be. I am older now, I have more than what I wanted, but I wish that I had started long before I did. And there's so much time to make up everywhere you turn, time we have wasted on the way. So much water moving underneath the bridge. Let the water come and carry us away. When you were young, did you question all the answers? Did you envy all the dancers who had all the nerve? Look around you now, you must go for what you wanted. Look at all my friends who did and got what they deserved. So much time to make up everywhere you turn, time we have wasted on the way. So much water moving underneath the bridge. Let the water come and carry us away. So much love to make up everywhere you turn, time we have wasted on the way. So much water moving underneath the bridge. Let the water come and carry us away. the water come and carry us away.
So it's all very simple. We just pursue those 5 key elements. Develop a healthy and realistic self-image. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? Are you always right? And how is that working out for you? 2, find your own way. We're only 15 for a moment, so if you want to sing out, sing out. 3, learn the rewards of delaying gratification, but know that sometimes it's okay to grow older but not up. 4, believe in something bigger than ourselves. What we can touch and see is not all there is to life. Why shouldn't we? 5, identify problems and do something about them. Don't let our lives be wasted on the way. But do have some fun along the way. Remember maybe some old jokes. And then we'll be wonderfully mature and well-adjusted. But of course, the reality is that this process takes continual effort and discipline, and the process can be very uncomfortable. But I do not come to this church to be comfortable. I'm not looking for a seal of approval placed on my forehead each week that says, "Good Unitarian." I come here to be uncomfortable, to be challenged, to be a better person, to be drawn back from my naturally piggy ways. That's how I might grow and change. And that change, that transformation means loss and pain, because we must give up part of our old selves in order to move onward.
We come together in this community to support each other in our transformations. Let us remember to do it all with love, patience, and respect, as each of us is at a different stage in our journey to grow up. Let's all say yes to life, truth, and love. We invite you to stand as you're willing and able to join your voices in hymn number 6, "Just as Long as I Have Breath." We've added some rhythm to this, so watch for the cues to start each verse. We invite you to remain standing as we extinguish the chalice. The words can be found in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Let us go forward with one another, supporting each other as we attempt to face the truth, helping each other to adapt to change, to do what needs to be done, and to live life to the fullest. Blessed be.
As I study the shortstop's position, crack with my leg like the shell of an egg. Someone call a decent physician. I know he grows, I can't pretend, though my mind is quite flexible. These brittle bones don't bend. I'm growing older, but now my metabolic rate is pleasantly stuck. Let those winds of time blow over my head. I'd rather die while I'm living than live while I'm dead. And now, don't get me wrong, this is not a sad song, just events that I happen to witness. And time takes its toll as we head for the pole, and no one dies for physical fitness. So what the hell do you as the days grow more complicated, as nightlife still wins? I'm growing older, but not my metabolic rate is pleasantly stuck. Let those winds of change blow over my head. I'd rather die while I'm living than live while I'm dead. Let those winds of time blow over my head. I'd rather die while I'm living than live while I'm dead. Thank you, and enjoy the cake.
Cowbell's fantastic. It is. That's the most important part of the whole service. We need that cowbell. To sort of vote like your life depends upon it. 'Cause it does.